Hey everyone, James here and welcome back to Shard TCG. Today I am doing another Talk TCG where we're going to be talking about branding your TCG, your homemade TCG, and then I'm going to be rolling on to the rule of 7. Now this is what I really want to touch on, but I want to build a little bit towards it before we get to that rule of 7. Okay. Just for anybody who is new to the channel and just discovering it, if you do like the content, I just want to remind you to hit that like button as it helps spread the word of the rule of 7 that I will reveal today, as well as supporting the channel. So thank you very much. Let's get started. Okay, so the reason I want to help you today with the branding of your TCG is because even though it is a homemade TCG, and it is built for ourselves, you do want other people to discover it. You want to make sure that it appears likable on the surface. You know the saying, don't judge a book by its cover? Well, guess what? A lot of people judge a book by its cover. So we want to create that little bit of professionalism just to get people to notice it and actually give your TCG a chance. Social media platforms will analyze how fast you search through things, and if you stop and stare at something for just 2 seconds, they class that as audience retention. So you're actually stopping and looking at something, then you might notice that you're seeing ads for something just because you stared at something for 2 whole seconds. That is how little retention that we get from a lot of people who are looking at our TCGs online. So we have to make that instant impact right away. So the first thing I want to talk about with branding of your TCG is you can go one of 2 ways, I see. So in my experience, we went with Shard, right? So we have Shard TCG. So we made 3 different logos for it. We've got Shard, the writing. We've got the logo itself. We built this iconic logo, and then we did the logo again, but with the green lighting on top. Now, the reason we did that is because we wanted our theme colors to be purple and green. Purple being the primary, or like a magenta as well. You know, it depends. We'll swap between magenta and purple, but it's a very vibrant purpley magenta type coloring. Okay, so that is our primary color, and then we've got green as a secondary color. Sometimes we're throwing a little splash of cyan as a third color for our thumbnails and things like that, but we try to keep these colors because then it helps create the brand. If you are scrolling through YouTube and you see a Shard video, 90% of the time, 95% of the time, there's probably some purple on there. And that helps the audience identify, saying that is Shard TCG. Bloody hell, these guys are everywhere. But if we constantly chopped and changed all of our thumbnails all the time, then we aren't being identified as easily. We just blend into the background. So that is one little tip I want to give, is pick your color themes and try to stick to it, or pick your patterns or something like that. Like if you like to be asymmetric, or you like everything to be, I don't know, certain types of fonts that you use, try to do that to help build some consistency. Now, diving more into the logo itself, the reason we designed 3 logos is because we wanted them to contrast on different things, but consistently. So if we're using like dark backgrounds and light backgrounds, there's different ones have different effects. So we've got the first Shard TCG, that one, with it being quite purple, even though it's got a little bit of a light blue, almost cyan colour around it, it still blends very easily into dark backgrounds. That's when we have the more green one at the bottom that we use. The green contrasts very nicely with the purple, so we made sure that we had that ready, so whenever we're using purple backgrounds we can slap the green writing Shard onto things. And then of course we've got the logo on its own, which would have the same problem as the Shard writing logo, so we like to use them 2 separately. So either you get Shard all writing, you get just the logo, or you get the Shard with the green writing but with the purple logo in the background. So basically one or the other or both together. So it's a nice little 3-man combo, and these guys work really nicely together. So I suggest when you build your logo for your TCG, or if you have a logo for your TCG, diversify it a little bit. Make sure that you've got that variation right from the start so people become more familiar with it over time. Now I want to go over the name of Shard. Shard it's a non-title type thing. Like, what is Shard? If I say Shard TCG to you and you don't know what Shard TCG is, what do you think it is in your head? Do you go, oh, that's fantasy, obviously? Or could it be anything else? I mean, could sci-fi use Shard? I mean, I guess so. They could have Shard. Could it be something to do with dinosaurs? It's a bit of a stretch. Like, or aliens, going back to sci-fi, like aliens could use shards, or shards a race of people, or like, it's, the word is so vague that it could mean anything. So it doesn't really tell the audience what Shard TCG actually is, which does have its problems because you can lose people's retention. You know, they look at it for 2 seconds and they go, Shard TCG. That means nothing to me. I'll just scroll past. There we go. We've lost people. Bugger. Now I'm going to compare it to a very popular Homemade TCG. I'm sure you've heard of it if you're a part of the Homemade TCG community. We have Chaos Galaxy. Now, Chaos Galaxy, when you hear that name, Chaos Galaxy, you think to yourself, okay, chaos. It's battling, it's war, it's infighting, it's not neutral, it's not peace, is it? So you think, okay, so it's fighting, it's war, it's battling. And then you've got Galaxy. Galaxy tells you that it's set in space, you know, it's set in a universe. It's gonna be more sci-fi like. If it wasn't that, then people would be going into it and become disappointed, which is an advantage of Shard, because people don't know what they're getting into when they come into it. So they go, Shard, well, what's that? Oh, it's fantasy. Okay, I've learned something. I didn't go in expecting it to be fantasy, though going off a lot of Homemade TCGs, it probably was going to be fantasy. So anyway, Chaos Galaxy. Yes, Chaos Galaxy. It says war in space right there. It says war in aliens. It says battling aliens. You're alien fighting. That's what you want. You read that and you go, that is what I am looking for. I'm going to click that and I know exactly what I'm going to get. Just from that logo, just from that title. Big credit to Zach. I know it is just a name and he'll probably be quite modest going, well, it's just a name. Maybe I didn't consider what it meant or anything like that, but something in him said, that sounds cool. And maybe he did coordinate a bit and he went, yes, that tells the audience exactly what it is going to be. Or maybe he just struck lucky. Zach, if you're watching this, reveal in the comment section below for me, please. Was the title deliberately so people would know exactly what it was that they were expecting from your TCG? Or is it just a coincidence? You thought the name was cool, you know? Either way, there's no right or wrong answer. It worked out brilliant for you, and I wish you all the best in the future. Alright guys, so now that I've broke down the basics of branding your TCG, I want to get onto the rule of 7. Now the rule of 7 is just an advertising rule, but I'm going to bring it into the TCG universe right now. Because I think a lot of people, when they do how to help TCGs, they focus on the TCG itself. I'm going to try and go from a broader range here and bring this to you because you might not know how to seek this knowledge outside of TCGs. So this rule of 7 in advertising. Okay, you've got an audience. You've got somebody that's looking through, they're finding your TCG and they see it for the first time. They're scrolling past, they see it. You might get 2 seconds, you might not. The odds are they've just scrolled past. They haven't even gave you those 2 seconds. That's 1. Second time they're scrolling past, they see it. They still scroll past. That's 2. The third time they scroll past, okay, they see it again. They scroll past. That's 3. Okay, they've now scrolled past some of your content for your TCG 3 times and they still haven't even clicked it. Alright, you see where I'm going with this? Okay, the 4th time, they stop and they notice it. They might click at that time, they might not. The 5th time, right? We're up to 5 now, okay? They've had 5 chances now. They finally take notice and they click that video. They're finally watching your content. They're seeing your TCG for the first time. They're giving it a chance, okay? They might like it, they might dislike it, who knows? They don't hit that subscribe button, they're not a fan yet, okay? They just know of it, okay? 5 times and they know of your content now. The 6th time, they see your TCG again. They click on it again. They're giving it more of a chance. They're starting to warm up to you. They're still not sure, okay? The 7th time, they click it. That is when they make their decision on whether or not they finally like you. Perhaps they've warmed up enough to you to where they go, yes, you know what? I'm going to subscribe to this person. I'm going to follow their TCG. I might even buy some of their TCG cards in the future, you know, if they're selling them on things like the Game Crafter. 7 times. It takes 7 times for somebody to become a fan of you. Now, when you start your TCG and you start your YouTube channel, you start your Twitter or your Discord and things like that, and nobody is following or you're not getting the numbers, you thought people were going to flood to it because you've been a part of this TCG for so long when you've been building it. You just kind of assume that everybody else is going to fall in love with it the same as you do. But people take time to fall in love, you know? How many people out there meet somebody for the first time and then are married a week later? It's incredibly rare. Things take time to build up, and a relationship between an audience and your own TCG will take time. Just because somebody clicks away from it the first time doesn't mean that your TCG isn't special. You know, you might have the best TCG in the world, but you have to stick at it before people start to discover it. Okay? 7 times. And I want that to sink in, okay? It takes 7 times for somebody to go from not noticing your TCG the first time to finally deciding whether or not they want to follow your TCG. Now, this isn't a solid rule. I'm sure there are exceptions to the rule out there. And if you are an exception to the rule, say if you discovered this channel for the first time and you decided to like and subscribe and things like that, I want you to put in the comment section below that you are the exception to the rule. And I'm not doing this to fill out the comment section because it is an exception to the rule, okay? I shouldn't be expecting many comments, if any, that say that they chose Shard TCG the first time. They said, this is mint, I'm going to click that. They probably went through 3-4 videos before deciding. And that is fine. It takes time to build that relationship, you know? I love my audience. I want my audience to love me. I want to make sure that Shard TCG does the best for them. And I don't want to let people down. And I hope by creating more and more of this content, it compounds over time. I have over 100 videos on this channel now. You know, that's 100 videos where people could potentially find Shard TCG and learn to love that. But I'll also accept that not everybody will. Okay, so if you take anything from this video today, remember the rule of 7. Alright? It takes time to build up your TCG. Stick at it. Don't give up. Okay? And I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.